This is a fact. We pay the IRS salaries and look at them, from conservative targeting to rehiring tax cheats as federal employees and even rehiring, yes, rehiring a company that botched healthcare.gov. Congressman Peter Roskam is demanding answers, and he joins us. Nice to see you, sir.
Thank you, Greta.
See the letter that you've written to the commissioner. How in the world does the IRS get away with hiring people, rehiring people who were doing a bad job?
They were doing a bad job, so they were fired, presumably, for cause. And now the IRS has brought back 300 of these people for cause. On one particular file, the Inspector General found out that it said, do not hire. And yet, with impunity, basically, the IRS is saying, well, in a nation of 300 million people, the only people that they can find to do those jobs are those 300 individuals.
You know, it's absolutely insane, and it's really mean to the American people. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how even the commissioner keeps his job. I know that the president points it, but just look at it. He didn't know anything about the emails, whether or not I can get Lois Lerner emails. Then he didn't tell Congress the information that he knew. Then we've got $3.3 billion in unpaid taxes by 318,000 federal employees. They could just dock their pay or do something to try to get the money back.
I'll see it and I'll raise it. Now they want more money. Now the argument is
no, but I mean, at some point, who do these people work for? I mean, how does the commissioner justify this? He may be a very nice guy, but how does he justify this?
I think what has happened is there has been a culture that has developed at the Internal Revenue Service, and it's a culture of impunity. Now, the idea of being able to your point, hire a firm that had been dismissed because of failures on Obamacare, and then just with impunity to bring that group in.
No one in private business would do that. No one in his right mind would do that.
You'd be gone. Look, there are people that were fired at the IRS that were rehired that mishandled confidential taxpayer information. That's the holy grail.
So what are you going to do? I mean, you sent a letter, and I saw the letter, and I'm grateful for that. But these letters, they go into a black hole. I mean, what's Congress really going to do?
Look, here's what's happening. So the ability that Congress has is twofold: to draw attention to things, number one, and number two, as it relates to the funding questions. There was a lot of criticism in December about the so-called Omnibus bill, the government funding. One of the silver linings of that is it went right at the IRS, and it cut $300+ million of their funding.
They take it out on the taxpayers, and they're going to delay refunds. People who rely on their refunds to pay for cars or houses or education. I mean, I would never in a million years do this to somebody. To these people.
Well, it's like the school board that says, well, you know, you don't give us the referendum, we're going to cut the football team and the school band instead of the administration.
Yeah, but the American, I mean, look, I know it's a tough job, but the American people are almost begging Congress to do something. You know, it's like a lot of us would be fine, but there are a lot of people out there who aren't fine, and they're sick and tired of this.
Yeah,
and so, I mean, there's got to be something more than just a couple of hearings and sending letters. And I appreciate you doing that. Don't get me wrong. And but it's like something's got to be done.
Well, I think that the level of intention is incredibly important. The appropriations process, by trimming their sails and going in exactly and not giving the IRS every dime that they're requesting and continuing to press forward on a pretty significant basis, that's where the action is.
What about the president? Do you have any conversations with the president about this?
I don't think the president is substantively engaged on the IRS.
It's like, I imagine you get lots of letters at your office, lots of calls.
Yeah, there's a lot. And I've been asking people what are they hearing, and now the calls and letters are coming into our office about misconduct.
I mean, it's absolutely disgraceful, and the people who need the refunds won't get the refunds on time, and IRS will just claim because they don't have the funding, and they don't have the funding because they let people get away with not paying their taxes, like the 318,000 federal employees at $3.3 billion.
When you have a culture that has gone sour, you've got a major problem, and there's a culture right now, in my view, of impunity.
And it's the commissioner. He's the top guy, so he should do something about it.
Yeah, it's his responsibility.
Anyway, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Greta.